And welcome back to another episode of Life in Prison. My name is Zach, and if you're new to the channel, haven't already done it, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification button so you'll be first informed when I upload. Show a little bit of love and some support, go ahead and hit that comment. And if you like it, make sure you smash that like button. Alright, so today what we're going to be getting into gang tattoos. So whenever you're in prison, even out here on the streets, to be honest with you, tattoos are becoming more acceptable in society, okay? So, after I got out of prison, I went to an ophthalmology office and started working in Pennsylvania. They did not allow any of my tattoos to be shown. So I had to wear a long sleeve button up. I mean, that's what the uniform was anyways. You had to wear khaki pants, dress shoes, and a button up with the logo on the shirt, right? An indicator in prison, how you can tell who's who, right, is a lot of people will put their set, their gang, whatever, a lot of different things on them so that people can identify as such. So I'm going to be speaking off my experience, gangs and the West Virginia prison systems. We have a lot of the same gangs that are, right next door to Maryland, Virginia, PA, but every state has a few extra things that, some just don't. Whenever you're part of something, right, to be able to get your patch or to be able to get something that you're a part of on your body, you have to put a lot of time and work in to earn those tattoos. There's been plenty of times where I've personally seen people get tattoos cut off, made them get them burnt off, or you'll have to get it covered up. As in, you go to the tattoo dude and you cover it up right then and there. Because if you're putting something on your body that you have no idea what you're doing, people get hurt and killed on a daily basis because of that reason. Everyone has a different mindset. Even though I'm affiliated, I always preach on my channel, it's not worth it, right? But for the ones that do go down that route, it's an honor to be able to put whatever it is on their body that they have earned, right? So with me being DMI, that's where the dog paw comes from. You see the dog paw over my heart, got a big dog paw. I've earned everything that I have on my body, and I've got a few different pretty much tags on my body to let people know who knows what I am. First off, I'm from Maryland. I was born, raised in Maryland, Baltimore, Hagerstown, then moved to West Virginia. So 301, I was never down. 301 area code is Hagerstown pretty much. I've lived in the 410, but that was for a brief period of time, so I'm not going to put 410 on me, even though just because I lived for a few years in Baltimore. I'm from Maryland, I'm from Hagerstown, so that's why I swagged out Hagerstown. I got the 301 with the state of Maryland on me over my, right breast here. So I got the MD on my wrist here from Maryland, and on the other side, I've got the H-Town for Hagerstown. Old Washington County Hospital. It's demolished and destroyed now, but in Hagerstown, old Washington County Hospital, that's where I was born back in the 80s. So, I had to get H-Town on me. Well, inside the Maryland, inside the D, there's a dog paw. And on the other side, there's a dog paw there. Then I also have my diamond, or my bandana chick on my arm. She's got the bandana right here. And inside, you can see it says DMI. On my knee is a massive dog paw. And I've got my dog lighter, it says DWG there. And once again, I have the 301, which marked Hagerstown, Maryland, with another dog paw. And on the back of my leg, I have I thought it was funny. You remember back in the day when people used to scare people, they used to put a sheet, over their body with cut out holes. Well, I have my little sheet dude, my ghost guy, my DMI ghost guy on my leg, and underneath the sheet dude, it actually says DMI once again. The only reason I'm posting all this stuff is once you go to prison, right, any tattoo, piercing, anything is documented and recorded. So every prison, like I say, every prison, the prisons that I went to, the level 5s that I was at, they all had gang investigators. So these investigators, they know who you are. They have pictures of all your tattoos. They know what you're fucking doing. All my tattoos are in the system. Once you become a felon, They take DNA samples of you, they take pictures of all your tattoos, so if there were any crimes in the future committed, then they have something that they can go back off of. That's how a lot of these cold cases are getting caught, because things that they had back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they didn't have that then. So a lot of people are in prison now catching old charges, 20, 30-year-old charges, because they didn't have the DNA and all this testing that they do now. Sometimes displaying who you are isn't a good thing. As I always say, once you become a part of something, you now have this target on your back. You know what I'm saying? Your flag, pretty much. So whenever you put a big ass 5-point star on your head, or if you put a big ass C on your face, or if you put a big ass hammer on your fucking neck, or if you put a big ass swastika on your back, you know what I'm saying? That is then a target. Each individual that's in each organization or gang, they all have a different mindset. They all have an end goal, right? Some want to be the most feared, some want to gain knowledge, some want to better themselves, along with many others, you know what I'm saying? Everyone has a different agenda. People might look at certain individuals like, oh, this nigga's not a killer. What the fuck is he gonna do? People got to realize it's not always about crash dummy missions doing this. It's all about smarts. You do realize that, right? The people that are running things, they might not be the biggest dudes, but you know what they have? They've got common sense and they've got patience. At the end of the day, that's what you're gonna need to lead a whole unit. So I've come across a few individuals, you know, in level 5 prisons here in West Virginia. You know, there's an assortment of individuals, okay? So a lot of the Crips, right? You would see that they'd have big C's on them. They'd have the 6-point crown, or they'd have the 6-point star on them. They'd have BK on them. You know, there's a lot of tattoos that can be indicators for certain things, and a lot of tattoos can get people killed, to be honest with you also. I did run across, and this is another thing too, so there's been a lot of debate on white bloods, right, recently. What I would say is there was one white blood that I was locked up with, and he was legitimate. He was, his name was Baltimore, B. Moore, and obviously he was from Baltimore. And this dude, he wasn't too big, right? But he was covered the fuck out. Big red 5-point stars on his face, on his head, everywhere. Everywhere. Even though this dude was small, he was putting in work. And the reason being is because there is white blood gang members, right? They might not be where you're from. You might not have never seen them. It doesn't mean that they don't exist. Some people don't agree with whatever it may be. At the end of the day, it's none of your business, right? It's none of my business. This dude was legit. He'd been checked at multiple yards. And I mean checked is he come out there screaming big Sue-woo, right? He want motherfuckers know who he was. With that being said, people are always obviously going to press you. So when, you know, they went and did whatever they did, you know, you got, whenever you're a part of a gang or organization, whenever there's stuff in-house going on, if they're disciplining one of their own, or if they're holding a meeting, or if they're conversating with each other, you don't want to walk up on them. Not only that, you don't want to try to eavesdrop or see what they're doing. That's none of your business. People get stabbed and killed on a daily basis, not minding their own business. So they went off, did their own thing. Obviously, dude didn't get smashed. He always came back, you know, and motherfuckers start dapping him up. Dude was legit, but a lot of people didn't like that. Like the ones that had been in prison a long time, bloods that, you know, they were holding some spots, right? They didn't like someone new coming around in the mix that was different, right? A lot of people, how do I say this? A lot of people are envious of others, right? And a lot of people, most are just followers, okay? People think that they're leaders, but you're not leaders. There was a lot of Sex, Money, Murder members up there. There was a few treetops. Let's see. You know, there was a few offsets, because a lot of these blood sets, a lot of them are off streets pretty much. So there's a lot of cats from Charleston that was bloods that they claimed whatever block that they was on, and that's where they was at. You know what I'm saying? You know, I fuck with a lot of dudes. As I said, even though a majority of DMI members were all white, some of the top dudes that I mess with, all right, for instance, Cali, all right, he's a Crip. He's from San Diego, California. That's where we end up calling him Cali. Calioso. That nigga, he's in prison for a murder. Happened back in like 2014, and he's big crip. A lot of those you'd see rolling 20s, rolling 40s, rolling 60s. 6-point star along with a lot of the folk. I'd only came across one individual from the Mexican Mafia. I don't want to say his name, but he was up at Huttonsville, I want to say, for people who know, they know. You know what I'm saying? Dude came from the feds, and he was tatted up from here down to his toenails. Me and Darius Cook, aka Bank Robber, we'd actually talked about the dude. Serious guys, and these guys don't talk much. You know what I'm saying? When you deal with the MS-13 members, Mexican Mafia guys, or anyone for the cartel, right? These guys are very quiet dudes, but they are fucking serious. They don't talk too much. They stay themselves. They'll speak with the Spanish dudes. They'll conversate and do business with the blacks and the whites, but they pretty much stick to themselves. And this motherfucker always had some money. Like, this nigga always had some money. The Odinist dudes, how you could spot their tattoos is they would have either Odin himself or Thor's hammer tattooed on them somewhere big. As I've spoken in some other videos, a lot of these dudes have the 88 symbols tattoos on them, or a bunch of these runes, because Odinism, I guess there's how do you say it, a way to communicate. There's a code that you can communicate and break it down. They're called runes, and they mean things. So people would have words and stuff written in runes. That's how you'd be able to tell who's pretty much Odinist. A lot of these guys, like I said, these Nazi lowriders, whenever they try to bring some stuff around, a lot of these dudes were actually Odinist guys who kind of just switched over. The only place that I've really ever seen some legitimate dudes who are actually putting in work, and I mean like killing people in prison, was up at Mount Olive. And these were the Nazi guys. I've done previous videos on them, how they got outed up at Mount Olive, 2019. These were actual Nazi guys, and they were really killing motherfuckers and are still killing people, running the yard. It's just how it is. Some people like to say, oh, the blacks was running the yard. You might have numbers, but what are you actually running? Fear-wise, everyone can say that they're feared. You know what I'm saying? A good way to tell who these Nazi guys are is, one, you'll see the big swastikas in the right places, right? You don't just put swastikas anywhere. It's not how it really works. From my understanding, from what I was told from Slim, who was at the time holding a position and just got done killing someone a couple years ago, he kind of explained to me, when you see these guys with just swastikas everywhere, he's like, they're supposed to be in a specific spot with specific things said and wrote around them for them to be legitimate. If not, they're getting cut the fuck off. Whenever I went to prison, I always assumed that getting tattooed and getting as big as I could, that was the only thing to do. Little did I know that going to prison would have been the most beneficial thing to me that's ever happened in my life. And the reason why I say that is because it broke me all the way down, right? I had absolutely nothing. I had to build myself mentally, spiritually, while in there with nothing. And to come out and then to work, plant the seed, nurture it, water it, love it, and watch it grow. Having the opportunity to go to prison, and I'm gonna say the opportunity, right? Having the opportunity to go to prison when I was in a time of my life where I didn't know which way was up or which way was down, right? We all have our own demons. We all have our own wants, urges, needs. A lot of us go through our own types of addictions. And addiction just doesn't have to be toward drugs or alcohol. Addiction can be to anything. We all deal with our own demons. that makes me no better than you. What I can do is try to better myself, and in the process, try to help those along the way that I can to the best of my ability. That's where I feel that my place in life is. Now that I'm in a position where I can help others while growing myself, it's the best way to go, baby. No one in my family has tattoos. You know, I was raised that your body is a temple of the Lord's. Do not deface it. So by having tattoos, you've done defaced it, you know. But I feel like it's definitely a way to express yourself. And my motto, as always, at the end of every video, I always say, I send my utmost love, loyalty, respect. I don't know if you can see it, but I have the love, loyalty, respect on my back. I feel like it was a good place to put how I feel, my outlook on life. You know, at the end of the day, all you have is your word as a man or as an individual. Regardless of how much money you have or how many physical items you may have, if your word is trash, then everything else is irrelevant. So, as always and as before, go ahead and check out Stone Collective Podcast over there on YouTube. My buddy Caleb started up a new channel and he's getting some videos booming. So go ahead and show him some love over there, Stone Collective Podcast, along with Stone Collective Supply Company over on Instagram. Check him out, shit's fire. So, as always, I send my utmost love, loyalty, and respect. Keep y'all heads up and stay positive. Take it easy.